Hello everyone, it's Dan here from Thomas Schroeder Support. I'm just going to take you through the portfolio section in Malory for WordPress. Right, so this particular portfolio is quite unique to our themes. It's very focused on images, but the result is an absolutely fantastic and powerful slideshow, which well, we'll go through now. You've got full control of how it displays items. It's really great. We'll make a project now and we'll show you what's what. Okay, so to begin with, in our admin area, we're just got the demo data all set up. If you're following all these videos and you haven't done so, then skip back to the beginning and follow along to get yourself set up just like the demo. Obviously, we've done all that at this stage, so let's take a quick look through one of the projects that we've got here. We'll go with coffee time. Okay, before we do anything, I'm just going to show you what this actually looks like, and we'll change it and tweak it and you can see what's what. So we're taking a look at the coffee time portfolio. We can see we've got some fantastic images, we've got some thumbnails down here. Not that you can see it, but I can actually control this with my keyboard as well. It's really great. But you've got options. You know, you may not necessarily want these thumbnails. You may not necessarily like how the portfolio handles your images. You've got all of the options to change this to exactly as you want. Well, what this means, probably the biggest change, or the biggest option you've got when creating a portfolio, once you've added your items, you can choose how the images fit. Now what this means, let's just change this over to cover. So in a lot of cases, and quite rightly so, a portfolio item or an image, or a theme I should say, when an image is added to it, because the images can be of any size, a lot of times the image will be forced to cover an area. What this means is sometimes, depending on the image and depending on the size of the screen, etc., you may lose portions of the image that you didn't necessarily want to. Now previously you may not have had any control of that, it's just a case of put up with it, but here you've got full control. So let's just change things up to cover for now and we'll see what that means. So you can see here the default kind of styling for, the default option to have the images cover the whole area means that exactly that. The whole image covers the entire screen. You can see there's absolutely no gaps here whatsoever. But on images like this one, not that you can tell really from this thumb, because the image is quite tall, not very wide, we're losing quite a large portion of the image. You know, we're just not able to see it. For most cases, that's still fine, you know, that's absolutely great, but if depending on what you're trying to show off or what work you're doing, that might not be suitable. So with the power of Malory and the excellent script we use, we can switch this down to contain. We'll change that up, and as the name suggests, what this does is stop the image from essentially breaking out of the screen, so you get all of the image inside the area provided for you. So there we go. So you can see there straight away we've got a bit of black space, but you know, that's to be expected. But next to that tall image we mentioned with the cookies, you can see we've got a lot more of the area up top and at the bottom. It's generally, if you're using mixed size media, then the contain option probably would be best for you. The scale down option is very similar, it just basically keeps everything inside the main area here. Perfect. Or perhaps you don't want any of this and you just want to show the images as you uploaded them. In that case you can just choose none, and we'll update that and just refresh. Have a quick look, and that, there you go, you can see there's all a bit different. So that basically just shows the image exactly as it is when it was uploaded, with no intervention from us at all. So if you really want to show off a whole bunch of mixed size media, you really do have full control. Okay, so the other options you've got for portfolio items, for instance these handy thumbs here, perhaps you may not necessarily want them, so I'll pop that back to cover because that's my personal favourite. And we can choose here under nav style, we'll go for dots instead. So if we refresh this project, you can see we've got no thumbs, we've just got some handy little dots that we can use to zip through all the images. Or perhaps you don't want any at all, that's absolutely fine as well. Just select none, refresh, there you go, there's no navigation. Now obviously the user can still drag, they can still use the keyboard, but even then perhaps you may not necessarily want that. Well, we've given you control of that too. So just below where we've selected the navigation style, we can choose whether or not we would like to allow the user to use their keyboard, which, you know, we keep that as yes as default because it's pretty handy. Do you want the arrows? Again, if you just don't like the style of them, or you just don't feel they fit your portfolio, then fine, you can get rid of them, no problem. If you want to disable the user from being able to drag them, again, just all done from the options. And one of them which we've set to no because it's kind of a bit of a strange option, but some people may want it. You can have the user change to the next image by clicking it. So let's just show you all this. If we turn all of this stuff off, so they're not able to use the keyboard, they can't drag it, but they can click. If we update the item and have a look, you can see that can't drag, there's no navigation, but if you click, there you go. You got full, complete control of how you want the users to be able to interact with your portfolio. Finally, we've got a few different options for the actual animation between each image. Crossfade is very popular. I think nowadays slide is quite trendy, so we've kept that to default. But let's pop the navigation things back on. We'll pop the thumbnails back on as well. Okay, let's take a look at the crossfade effect. Don't forget we're going to have the thumbnails and things here as well. There we are. As you can see, as we go through each image, it just neatly transitions between each one. Absolutely gorgeous. Finally, we'll look at the dissolve. So let's refresh that. You can see there, it kind of neatly blends between the two. And finally, if you do want the thumbnail option, if you want to use that as a navigation type, we have given you complete control of that as well, so you can actually specify the heights and widths for each one. So let's just go crazy and put 200. So there we go. It's a bit ridiculous, but it kind of gets the point across. Just you've got complete control here. So we've got nice, big, fat thumbnail images that the user can use to go through the whole gallery. And there's one last bit of excellence really that I want to show you for the portfolio. Although this looks fantastic, you may realise that everything's a bit nondescript. I mean, yes, images are great, perhaps you may want to put some text in there as well. Unsurprisingly, we've got you covered there too. What we use is the caption area within WordPress. I'll just give you a really good example of this now. If we open up one of the images in our gallery, and I'll put, hey, this is a nice caption. And we'll take another look. So what you can see now, that first image, our brand new caption appears nice and clearly in the corner straight away. So if you want to add a bit of descriptive text to each of your images, just do so by the image caption area and you're good to go. Okay, well that's the portfolio for Malory covered. I hope it's been useful. If there are any other questions, just come and see me over at support. Thanks for watching.